Hey everybody, I'm Paul Esden Jr., aka Boy Green. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And on this series, we're talking about all the free agents the Jets have added to the rotation during this free agency period. And with each free agent they've added, I'm bringing on expert analysis, and we're going to be breaking them down piece by piece, which brings us to today's guest. Brenden Ertle is a podcast host, staff writer for Canal Chronicles, and SB Nation site solely dedicated to all things New Orleans Saints. He's going to help with a double dip of free agency here because the Jets added two former New Orleans Saints, of course, Justin Hardee and former first-round pick Sheldon Rankins. So let's bring him in. Brenden, what's up, man?
What's up? Thanks for having me on.
Of course. So thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it. Let's go on Justin Hardee first. Now, technically, they signed this guy, and he's a DB. But, you know, what he's most known for is his special teams prowess.
hmm
And I had one person text me this week, so I want you to play fair or foul here first. I had a person text me this week when I was asking around the league on Justin Hardee. Someone texted me and said this, quote, he's the second best special teamer in the league behind Matthew Slater of New England. Fair or foul?
I would say foul because I think he is the best special teamer
Ah,
in the NFL, and I think that Justin Hardee, yeah, he's a great football player. He's not going to be playing meaningful minutes in the back end. He's not going to be playing cornerback at all. But I'm sure every single Jets fan has seen his interview. He's like, I got heart. He does, and that's why he's so good at special teams. I mean, he's not the most athletic. He's definitely not the fastest, but he has the most heart. And honestly, that's what you need to be a good special teamer. And he has it all.
well, you know what? You led me right into it. He captivated Jet fans during his media opportunity, and he pointed to his heart. He said, "Why? This is why he's so dedicated." The setup to the question was, "Why are you so good or committed to special teams?" And he pointed to his heart. And I'm going to be honest, I was ready to run through a brick wall for the guy. I was like,
hmm
"Okay, let's go, let's line up." And I was like, "Oh my God, this guy is a special teamer." And the other thing that got me, and I always do this when free agents leave a team. What are the players on the team saying? Are they saying, "Oh my God, I missed that guy"? Are they just silent? Are they? What's the takeaway? I saw guys like Cameron Jordan,
hmm
Armstead. Others were like flabbergasted. They're like, "Oh my God, Justin Hardee's leaving. What did he mean to that team and that community?" It seemed like he was a good locker room guy too.
I mean, Justin Hardee goes back pretty far with some of the Saints. He went to high school with Marshawn Lattimore. He played with Ted Ginn Jr.'s dad. His dad was his coach at Glenville High School. So, I mean, he had lots of connections with the Saints, and he was a big piece of that locker room. I mean, just the culture. He's from Illinois. He played wide receiver there. The Saints brought him in, and they moved him to corner. Didn't really have much success there, but he was an excellent gunner, and he's fought through so much adversity. And I think that he's the perfect ad for the Jets and Robert Saleh, just because you want to fix that culture. And Justin Hardee, with him in the Saints locker room, immediately that culture goes up. And losing Hardee sucks. And I knew Saints fans and Saints reporters maybe thought we'd lose him just because of their cap situation and whatnot. And he might be an expensive special teams player, which he ended up being. And it sucks losing him. Really sucks losing him because he's a big piece of that culture in the locker room.
You just brought up the cap space. It's not even on my list of questions, but quite frankly, let's dive in. There were negative 70, negative what? Negative 70 million? There was 70 million over the cap. How is that even possible? And then on top of that, like somehow obviously they got right by the time the league year officially kicked off last week. How the heck did that happen?
I mean, you're going to start seeing it a lot more, but the Saints love to push money down the road. And you're starting to see with teams like the Bucks, they're pushing voidable years, just things like that. They've been doing that for the past 5 to 10 years since Mickey Loomis got New Orleans. They find ways to push money down the road, and it just caught up to them. It wasn't because they did anything financially wrong. It was just because of COVID. They were expecting that number to be 40, 50 million more than it was going to be. Um, Especially with the TV deals coming up. I think they'll be okay, but just they might have to just eat it for a year, and they'll lose luxury guys like, of course, Justin Hardee and Sheldon Rankins.
Yeah, let's go to the next player, and that is Sheldon Rankins. Again, normally when we do these free agent breakdowns, it's I'm talking to one insider about one player. We're going to be talking about Carl Lawson with a Bengals insider coming up later this week. But with this one in particular, it's a special sauce here. The Jets added two former New Orleans Saints, Justin Hardee, who we just talked about, and Sheldon Rankins, who is more prominently known. He is a former first-round pick a very talented guy. I believe he was out of Louisville,
Hmm.
a very talented guy. So, first off, let's kind of go through the entire Sheldon Rankins story here. First off, initially, he's a first round pick. What did the Saints think they were getting, and did they get the return on investment they were hoping for from a first round pick?
That's tough because he's extremely talented. He still can be the best, one of the best pass rushing DTs in the game. It's just more about consistency and health. The health was the main thing with Sheldon Rankins because when he was out there playing at full strength, his 2017-2018 year, he was like at a Pro Bowl level. And when he's playing well, he's doing his little shimmy dance. I know Jets fans will see that soon. When you start seeing him shimmy, that's a good sign because he really is talented, but it was more of like different injuries. And then this year he kind of got beat out of position. Just lots of competition. It was really hard for him to stay healthy. And that was the main thing with him. I mean, he's really talented, really, really athletic at that position as well.
Yeah, the 2018 year you brought up was a career high, 8 sacks for Sheldon. And when you go to the tape, I mean, one of the things that jumped out was the spin move. And I don't
Hmm.
know if it's quite here in Syracuse Dwight Freeney s spin move, but I mean it was up there, and that was talented. How does he have an array of pass rush moves in the toolbox? Is he a one trick pony? What does he bring to the table?
When he's on the field and he's healthy, he really helps his team. There was a span where he missed 2 or 3 games, I think, this season, and you could see that the pass rush just wasn't as physical. They have David Onyemata there as well, but he really is like he has a bull rush. He's a great spin move. He's great in run defense. He was paired with Malcolm Brown this year. They did a great job. Um, let's see. He also kind of played some D end at times in his career. The Saints had Alex Okafor, and he tore his Achilles. He kicked out there as well, so he's a little bit versatile. And I think next to Quinton Williams, he can be really successful. Pairing him with just more talent around there, not getting as many double teams, I think that can be a really good pair.
Yeah, that's going to be the question for the Jets. Where do they line him up? Because he plays Quinton Williams' position, but obviously Quinton ain't going nowhere. So, do they move fully Fatu Kasi, formerly of UConn, to the bench? Because that's where it looks like he'd line up potentially as a one technique there on the 4-3 scheme. So, there's a lot of questions, and obviously still the draft to come of more pieces to add to the mix there. And let me ask you, was there any hope from the Saints side of things to try to retain Sheldon? Or, as you mentioned, he kind of served as a backup role and also was injured the last year, or were the Saints just convinced, hey, it didn't work out on the back end, we're ready to move on, or did they try any attempt to keep him?
I think they would love to bring him back, but I think they're playing the game where it's like, okay, you go play out your market, you see what you can get, and if it's nothing, we'll bring you back. And I think the Saints were looking for 2, 3, 4 million for Sheldon Rankins, and of course he got that 17 million for 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's right.
Um, yeah, that was just too much for the Saints, and they have around 4 million cap space right now. They just can't. It would have been an absolute luxury to keep him, just because they have David Onyemata as well. Like I said before, the cap situation, they can't be having all this great depth, and I think they would have loved to have him. I heard that they loved him, and of course he was fantastic with the media. He won. I forget what the award's called, but one year he won the award for the best Saints media player, just being so nice to the reporters and always so talkative. And he's really a great guy too.
And, for all the Jet fans who are watching and listening in right now to learn more about both Sheldon Rankins and Justin Hardee, whether it's a story, whether it's just some insight from you, like what are Jet fans getting? Whether from the person that is Sheldon Rankins or Justin Hardee or the player, what should they expect when both of these guys end up suiting for the Jets this fall?
Whether they play a snap or not, in that locker room, it's an immediate culture shift. And I think fans don't really think about this too much, is how much the culture in a locker room means. And especially for Jet fans these past few years, you want that culture to shift. And Saints fans, they had 3 straight years when we went 7-9. We brought in Sheldon Rankins, we brought in Justin Hardee, we brought in like Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, guys like that. It's an immediate culture shift. When you have guys who have won in this league and have been successful, guys like Justin Hardee, yeah, he's a special teamer. He's not going to make that big of an impact on defense, but he's going to, at practice, he's going to hype this guys up. He's going to get his guys going. And just in the locker room in general, I mean, like I said, the culture is there, and bringing in guys like Carl Lawson as well. Um, And on the field too, they're great. They're great players on the field. You're going to see energy on the field. Jets fans are going to love seeing Justin Hardee every single time run down a punt, and he's going to let you know. You'll see him talking to the returner, talking a little trash, and that's what he does. They like winning, and they'll do anything they can to win.
Again, we're speaking with Brenden Ertle here. He's a podcast host and staff writer for SB Nation, SB Nation site covering all things New Orleans Saints. And before we get you out of here, Brenden, I got to ask about the quarterback situation there in New Orleans. The Saints re-signed famous Jameis. Jameis Winston's back. They got Taysom Hill with a bunch of those voidable years on a contract. First off, how confident do you feel in the current Saints quarterback situation as it's currently constructed?
Oh, confident. How am I confident? I don't think I'm extremely confident,
Sure.
but I'm content in the situation. I think it's not as bad as it could have been. If we would have been stuck with Taysom Hill as the next guy, I would have been like, okay, let's lose some games. Let's try to get a quarterback next year. But Jameis Winston, I have confidence in. Of course, he's had success in this league, but he's one of the quarterbacks who, of course, has thrown a ton of interceptions, and we don't know what Jameis has fixed and not fixed. I mean, he spent a year sitting behind Drew Brees for less than $1 million. They wouldn't have brought him back if they weren't confident that he could be the next guy. I think ultimately that he will be the next guy. I think he'll be Taysom Hill. I think Taysom will do his usual Joker kind of position in the Saints offense. But I mean, it's just hard. Haven't had a lot of film of him since his Tampa Bay days. I mean, it's going to be really fun to see. It's going to be our first time since 2006. We don't know who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Saints. So it's a new beginning for New Orleans, and we're looking forward to it.
Brenden, let me help you out. I'm a giver, okay? That's what I am. That's why I asked you that question, because you know what? You don't sound very confident, and it's okay. Just like Drew Brees, a future Hall of Famer. I understand where you're coming from, man. Well, I don't, because the Jets haven't seen a Hall of Fame quarterback in 50 years, but you know what? I get what you're saying. So let me help you. What about Sam Darnold, man? We got him over here. You guys got some draft picks. Come on, let's negotiate. Let's talk. All right, Sean Payton, Sam Darnold, maybe recreate some magic there. Drew Brees is gone. Jameis Winston, right? The 30 for 30 squinting eyes interceptions. Taysom Hill, he can play everything except quarterback. Come on, man. You need a new quarterback. Let me help you from the Jets fan side of perspective. What about Sam Darnold? Let's talk.
I think Sean Payton would put the phone straight down. I think that's a
Oh, come
hard no.
on.
I think if it's not Jameis, Sean Payton loves Taysom Hill. He's gonna make that work, and I know for a fact he's not gonna try and trade for anyone because he loves the quarterbacks in that quarterback room. If it ends up being this year where Jameis doesn't work, Taysom doesn't work, then I could see them starting to maybe take a call on the Jets. Last time they got a player from the Jets, Demario Davis, he was a total franchise changer. So maybe in years down the road, but definitely not this year. I know that they love the quarterbacks in the quarterback room.
Thanks for bringing that up because also I have it in my other man cave. The Jonathan Vilma, I remember you guys stealing him and him having great success. Demario Davis, you get for a bag of potato chips, and he ends up being fantastic for you. And then one more, remember the Jets and Saints, the Teddy Bridgewater trade.
Oh,
Again,
yes.
we're all about helping you guys out. And I know the Bridgewater thing didn't work out. He ends up in Carolina, but again, don't hang up the phone just yet. Just think about it. Let it simmer. Maybe Sam Darnold, you guys give us that late first round pick, and then we're talking here.
I mean, let's just see how Rankins and Hardee turns out, and maybe that'll be good enough for the return.
You know what? Not too bad. And Brenden, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on YouTube. It was a lot of fun, man. Both of these players seem intriguing, especially Sheldon. If he could stay healthy, lined up to quit in this 4-3 scheme with Robert Saleh, I am. Other Jet fans are. They're licking their chops at the potential of what this unit could be. At the very least, even if Sheldon Rankins is a rotational guy, I think he's going to have an opportunity to have a career renaissance here.
Absolutely. I wish them the best of luck in New York. It sucks seeing them go, but I mean, I love those guys. Those guys have been on my team for the past 4 years. I wish Jets fans can enjoy these guys and really cherish it because they're special guys.
All right, Brenden, thank you so much for joining us, man. Appreciate it.
For sure.